looking into the market today, I mostly focus on tech related securities companies. I've been looking heavily at Tesla, Nvidia Corporation, Broadcom Inc., Amazon was a game player I wanted to get into earlier on, but I was stuck in a position, so I wasn't able to get in early. I still got to do some due diligence to see what their likelihood is that's going to play out for the rest of the year. Also, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, microstrategy, another crypto. Now it's related to Bitcoin, not crypto, but it's basically a Bitcoin holding company. But they're their own tech company altogether. But they have such a large Bitcoin reserve that they move alongside Bitcoin. Um, Taiwan Semiconductors, Super Microcomputer, to name a few. There's a lot of other big players in the tech industry that I look at, but like I said, to name a few. um, let's see what happened today. So today the market took a big, um, it took a, it dumped on itself. Market, all indexes crashed. um, the Nasdaq, S&P, Dow. I see as the main reason through watching the media is Trump. Trump is talking heavily upon his tariffs that he's going to implement upon other countries. Um, so that is starting to show into the market. Uh, he's heavily criticizing China, and he wants to let them know that he will tariff them 100%, which is absurd. But I mean, if he needs to do it, he has to do it. I am a Trump supporter. So I do believe in what it is that he wants to get done. Ultimately, he will get done, and usually, more often than not, he has a lot of advisors near him, so he can make a well thought out plan and decision. He doesn't really have he doesn't have any bad interest for the U.S. economy. He wants the U.S. economy to flourish, and for your everyday person like you and me to make money and to be able to afford things. The tariffs, when you uh, when you break it down as an economist, it's supposed to be shown to do the exact opposite of what he wants to get done, because it will make prices. First off, it will create geopolitical tensions between us and other countries. Prices of items going out, depending on what he put the tariffs on. I mean, not prices. The number of items going out are most likely going to diminish as countries won't want to do any trade with us. So everything will pretty much be bought in-house, meaning U.S. made, USA made. Now the prices on things coming into the U.S., depending on the percentage of tariffs that he wants to put for each individual country, will get pricier. Depending on what country, it could be gas, could be tech stuff. Asian markets could be clothing stuff, retail, could be farm vegetables, foods, livestock, whatever it is being imported from whichever country whatever item that they particularly sell. Whatever the percentage of that tariff is coming into the USA will get more expensive. That's how an economist will look at it. Uh, the way he's playing it out, and the way I guess we're trying to see it as, is he's just using that as leverage, because the world economy is reliant on the U.S. dollar and the U.S. economy. Our market is like 10 times, 20 times that of any market close to us. The only other one that's close, I believe, is Japan and China, which, if you look at the value, is our market soars in comparison. It's greatly bigger than the second biggest stock market in the world. So all those factors related, his idea is that the other countries have to rely upon us. They need our money. They need our cash. They need our revenue. They need our business. They need business from the U.S. consumer. So his idea is to place tariffs in order for us to get other benefits, in order for us to get benefits in other areas, depending on what it is that he has set out for. So he's basically using his leverage of the U.S. economy over other countries to tell them that if you want us to continue doing business with you, then you have to do Y, X, and Z for us. And that has to be done. No, we don't want no rebuttal. We don't want no problems. It has to be done right away. If not, you will be tariff coming into our country. For example, Mexico, on the border, he's threatening to do tariffs on that. China, all these different types of tariffs that he's planning on. He's using it as leverage to make our economy and to make the U.S. stronger and safer. How that relates to the market now, we're getting glimpses of it because prices on a lot of things have fallen. I mostly just look at tech stocks, securities, and the only indexes I look at is the Nasdaq, Dow Jones, and S&P. I don't really look at ETFs or anything else, just security stocks, and the U.S. dollar, of course. The way I see it, we could put Nvidia today as an example. So there was an article that came out earlier today, and China did let's open this up, see if I can find it. China did an investigation. They want to open up a probe into the Nvidia, saying that they're trying to monopolize themselves in China by basically buying out other smaller companies, so that way they're the only company, by basically buying out startups and other smaller companies, by being the only so that Nvidia is the only company in China that sells AI products, GPUs, anything chip related. So China, where's the article here? So China, sorry about the wait, guys. It's an antitrust probe from China. Now, there was an article that came out today that was interesting. It was from an analyst. Let me find the exact article. But basically saying that there was an analyst that came out and said, or was it an economist? That came out and said that the China probe, the antitrust probe, was the first related retaliatory efforts from China to Trump. It was like a side, remark to them, saying, "Look, as much as you think that us, China, are reliant upon you, the USA, you, the USA, is also heavily reliant upon us, China, and our economy. And we're going to use Nvidia, one of your biggest tech, or one of your biggest markets, securities, has a huge market cap, biggest companies, as an example. Nvidia, they don't see anything in them where they're monopolizing themselves in any country. They went through that earlier this year with the U.S., inside of the U.S., and they've been cleared of that. This is around the time when Nvidia was dropping down to like 90, then 100, but it was a buying opportunity and they took off. But they were cleared of those allegations and they're back. They went right back to running. So when China made these new allegations, antitrust probe of them trying to monopolize their sector, they came back and said, whatever it is that you guys want to look, we'll allow you guys to look into our company, open arms, open, anything. You can go through all the stuff and we'll answer all your questions right away. Basically said they're an open book. You can look at whatever you want. We haven't done anything illegal. So an analyst came by and said, this was the first. It's not really about the monopolizing of Nvidia. So a lot of people sold off for no reason, it seems as. But it was more of a threat to the U.S. and to Donald Trump for him to see that if you want to play the tariff game, we can play a tariff or fear game right back at with the U.S. and their companies. So the way from the articles that I've read, that seems to be the way that Nvidia got hit today, and why it dropped. Do I see it as a buying opportunity? I do. Do I think it's going to drop down a little bit more? Yes, I do. I still do think it's going to drop down a little bit more, possibly into the mid to high 20s, and then eventually rebound because it is a very strong company. The uh, the issue though, the bigger issue is that again the tariffs from Trump are playing a big part as to what is going on with our economy and what could potentially happen with the stock market. So we have to be very vigilant as to what could happen in the future under a Trump presidency, which is going to happen January 20th, 2025. There was an article that came out with Elon Musk, I believe, or some type of it was an Elon Musk related paper that said that the under Trump within the first couple of months of first year, there's going to be like a redesign um, of the whole market of the whole U.S. Politics, market, economy, everything. And within that, there's going to be a slight turmoil where the U.S. will hit recession-like indicators and recession-like environment. Elon Musk caught that tweet, X or tweet, and he replied saying, "Yeah, that sounds about right. That's most likely what's going to happen to the U.S. economy." Sorry. So we've seen a glimpse today as to what could happen to the market under a Trump presidency, well, at least within the first year. But a lot of economists are also expecting there to be a Goldilocks period after the economic or political turmoil that happens inevitably happens with Donald Trump's first year in office. So we got a glimpse of what could happen, and there was a dip, and hopefully the job of the president is to try to make it so that we don't see any type of economic turmoil. So hopefully he can avoid he can avoid that situation entirely, and we can just focus on continuing our growth. There's a lot of analysts that are saying that the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq and no, yeah, the S&P 500, which is tech heavy, and Nasdaq is going to keep growing up to 2025, positive growth. It may slow down, but it's going to keep growing. So you have that going as well, with what the a lot of economists are saying that there will be a hit in our politics and our economy. So that's just as that as an example. That's what happened today with the indexes. Why there was such a big dip. Again, very tariff fear bringing dip into the market. The U.S. dollar has risen. It's been on a steady rise since a couple of weeks before the November elections. It was trading at around $100. Now it's at $106.40. So people are saying with the Trump presidency, the dollar will keep getting stronger. It's been growing ever since he's been elected on November 5th. So there's a lot of other factors related to that, but there's a good chance the U.S. dollar keeps growing. Um, let's move on to Taiwan, TSM, TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductors, or TSM. They said they played out their revenue today, um, and it seems like their revenue was positive. It wasn't an earnings report, but it was like an early showing of how they were doing, and it came out positive. So their company was doing well, although they weren't adverse to the tariff. Um, I want to call it the tariff dip that happened today within the index markets. MicroStrategy, another one, related to Bitcoin because they have such a large Bitcoin holding, the biggest of any other company that there is in the market. They dropped and took a dip today. drastically from, I believe it was 377 or 76 down to 356 at one point. So a 20 point drop, but then they did a 20 point increase, and they're increasing as we speak. They're at three after they close at 377, but the after hours is at 380.44 cents. Um, Bitcoin. So there was news with that as well. Microsoft, um, they did their shareholders meeting today, and I guess the rumor was going around that they weren't going to vote to have the Microsoft have a holding in Bitcoin. So it's kind of a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. In a way, although here it's sell the rumor and then buy the news after it came out because it already dropped as far as it could. So, well, like I said, so Microsoft came out and they voted against the idea of having a Bitcoin holding reserve, and they're going to stick with their bonds and other securities for their extra cash. The reason being was that they voted that it was too volatile of a market. So they would rather and too much of a high risk. So they would rather put their money, their equity, into safer, less risky holdings. And so that's what they're going to continue to do. So because as the shareholder meeting came out, I believe it was 11:30. Bitcoin kept dropping. Went from 90. I believe at one point today it was at 98 or 97.8. But then it went down to like low 96s, and then the news came out at like 12 that the shareholders voted against it, and it declined into, let me see, yeah, 94s. And that's when MicroStrategy went down to 356, around that area, and it created a buying opportunity because there's a lot of fear from just one company that was a if. But the issue is that Bitcoin, there's a lot of other institutional buyers, a lot of other big buyers, and a lot of other big companies, hedge funds, um, millionaires, billionaires that are buying this in retail. People like you and me are buying this up astronomically. The whole crypto market is exploding under, of course, because of the new Trump presidency and because of all the uh, advisors and all these other areas that all these other areas in government that Trump is electing or picking, all these other roles where people are his choices want a cryptocurrency to be sorry, my brain, I'm trying to multitask here. He's trying to he wants to make a safe cryptocurrency environment for the U.S. to make it easier and safer for your everyday person like you and me to be able to buy, sell, hold, and not get taxed as heavily as before. So that's why Bitcoin has been taken off ever since the Donald Trump election. So that's what happened with MicroStrategy today. Tesla went up to 409, I believe. Yeah, 409, almost 410 today, and then they dropped, down to four. I think the lowest was 400 or like 399, and they went back up. They're increasing after hours to $403.85. So they're doing good. They're holding steady above $400. A lot of people are fearing that it's due for a pullback since it's done a steady rise from well, if you want to go as far back as the Donald Trump election on November 5th, it jumped up from 244 and has been rising, but it's done pullbacks then. But from high 340s, has been growing steadily to 400. So a lot of people are estimating and speculating that there's a pullback that's due soon. The RSI weekly, daily, well, weekly, let's start off with weekly, and monthly as well. It's starting to get high with Tesla. Right now we're looking around 75, and on the stochastic oscillator, it's also high as well at 89 to 90. So it's looking like there has to be a setup for a pullback soon. Do I think it's going to be a major pullback? I don't. Do I think it's going to be uh, I believe it's just going to be a RSI reset. If it gets as high as 410, 420, it'll probably come back to around 400 to 405, maybe 410ish, and then continue to increase. There's a lot of news coming out with Tesla and robotics. The EVs are coming. There's so much. Tesla's a whole nother video. They have so many things coming out with Tesla. EVs, their charging networks, their charging revenue, their energy revenue, their robotics, their AI, their XAI, their Grok, their FSD, full self driving features, their cybercab, their everything with Tesla right now is exploding. The Doge department in the U.S. government with Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk is entering into politics, um, or he's having a foot in politics constantly. In any video that I've seen or any picture, anything, he's constantly next to Donald Trump. So this guy is the most brilliant man to make his company and stock go up without any advertisement spending ever done. Just literally just living his life and playing the right roles and doing the right things for his company to take off. And he's making the right products, and he's stepping into the products early on. There is one big news that's related to another company that I was speaking about on um, that I mentioned earlier. Give me one quick second. Sorry about that, guys. They're linked to another company with, that I spoke about earlier. You have Nvidia, SMCI, and Dell that Tesla is working on with their, well, not really Tesla, but Elon Musk is working on with his XAI project, which he had recently got. His most recent funding was for $6 billion, and he's moving the headquarters down to Memphis, Tennessee. And because of that, SMCI and Nvidia and Dell, they have also made some of their companies, some parts of the company went down there as well. So particularly just because of Tesla, and they want to be a part of whatever it is that Elon Musk has in plan. His XAI is his AI infrastructure that he's developing to compete with OpenAI. His nemesis, what's his name? Let's see. I just don't want to get this wrong. Sam Altman, his art. Well, now in one of the areas. Before it was Jeff Bezos. Now it's Sam Altman. One of his rivals. And because of that, those companies have gotten some investors from Tesla going to them. So we already spoke about Nvidia. Nvidia is taking off. SMCI is as well one of those companies that is also doing very well. They have, from the last week, they have jumped up from 30s. Now, earlier, up until Friday after hours, they reached a high of 49. Pre-market on Monday, they dropped after hours to like 47, and then pre-market again they had risen up to $49 per share, and then during the market they had dropped and they kept dropping. The main news for that was because they're still linked with other AI plays like Nvidia, and so obviously they're also linked with Tesla. They're starting to be linked with Tesla, but the Nvidia probe dropped a lot of the market, and SMCI wasn't adverse to that as well. SMCI is one of those stocks that's a high risk but potentially high reward type of company at the moment. Not exactly sure how to break it down, but I don't. And again, I'm not trying to give any financial advice, so don't take for what I'm saying for any idea to want to do what it is that to put your money into whatever company it is that you want to put it into. From what I'm telling you, I'm not giving anybody any financial advice. But SMCI seems like one of those companies that has outgrown its shoes, but it's still trying to wear its old shoes. If you understand what, if you kind of get what I'm trying to say. Um, they're a company that grew very fast because, well, the AI industry grew extraordinarily quick. Um, so they're as they were growing, a lot of uh, their administrative heads, CFO, CEO, accounting, all that stuff, all those positions were kind of being run by one person, and that was the CFO. So the CFO was basically doing two or three jobs um, when he should have just been focusing on one job. And because of that, he ran into a lot of issues, and we put in the financials as one of them. Now, their previous accounting firm had recommended had left. They said they didn't want to be part of what the June or August financials that were set to come out, and so they left the company, and so the markets, so that the stock started crashing. They had hired an independent auditor, which came in and told them that they didn't see any malpractice or anything wrong in what it is in their financials, and they went through an extensive research, hundreds of thousands of papers. It was a whole team that came in, but they did recommend that they replace the CFO and that they get new directors for each individual role, not have one person play three or four different positions, and to hire a new accounting team as soon as possible. So I do believe they hired an accounting team. They're waiting for the first audit. I don't want to. I don't want to. I gotta look into that again. But I do know that they still haven't gotten a new CFO. The news that took it from 40 on Friday from 40 to 44 all the way up to 47 to 49 after hours was that they got an extension with the Nasdaq. Um, so they're able to file up until February 25th of 2025. The CEO had a conference, not conference, an event, was part of an event yesterday at Reuters. It's called Reuters Next. Let me see, December 10th. It was today. He was part of an event called Reuters Next, and he came out and said that um, he doesn't expect Supermicro to be his company to be delisted on the Nasdaq, and he's very confident that the stock will not be delisted from the Nasdaq, and that they will file their financial reports in a timely on time by the deadline, and they should have no problems doing it. So that was some news that came out today. But of course, the Nvidia issue with China, um, I guess Supermicro couldn't avoid that, and so they dropped. So they started off today, I believe. I don't know. They started off today at around 42ish. Yeah, 42ish, and they finished at 40 dollars and 54 cents at the hour after hours. Currently, they're at $40.63. Again, I'm not giving any financial advice, but it's a high risk, high reward company at the moment. Signs are pointing towards that they can do well, but there's a lot of fear mongering going on with the company. But it is an AI play, and they're linked with Nvidia. They're linked with Tesla, Elon Musk. They have a strong infrastructure in play, and there was another analyst that came out I believe it was from J.P. Morgan, that said that they didn't have any of their orders not fulfilled, or none of their orders were backtracked because of the bad news. They still have all of their orders in place, but there's still not that much confidence in what their revenue might come out when their earnings report eventually come out. So there's still fear mongering within the company. I myself will place a position if it goes back down into the 30s, and it's almost like a crypto bet. I have a position with XRP, and I am going to hold for a year to see how it plays out under a Trump presidency. Crypto is supposed to be adverse to recession. It's supposed to be recession proof, so we will see. And I don't think SMCI can get much. Well, maybe they can. Who knows? But it's still an AI tech company. But I'm sidetracked anyway. Just news. What else? Broadcom, their earnings report will come out on Thursday. So everybody's excited for that. And they're expected to post an earnings of 138 a share. So report a 51.6% increase in revenue to 14.091 billion from 9.3 billion a year ago. That's their yearly revenue. So they're expecting it to increase on a yearly basis. So they're expecting the earnings to be 1.38 per share. They have a strong buy from 36 analysts, and they have an 12-month a year medium price average of $200. Here we're getting into it. So the previous quarter, their earnings was 1.20, and the actual estimate, and the estimate was 1.20, and the actual revenue was 1.24. So they beat that. So the last one for the last quarter was 1.24. This earnings are expecting 1.38, which is an increase, and that's on Broadcom. So Nvidia may have just gave a big opportunity for up until Thursday for Broadcom to take off. So it's kind of a get them while they're cheap on a discount type of opportunity right now. They're trading currently at 172. Let's see what happens by Thursday when their earnings come out. Amazon took a dip. That's a company that I really wanted to get into. I was trying to up until I think it was 2 weeks ago when they took off. I think I was looking at it at 196. They have a big AI player at the moment. They're making a lot of AI investments, and I do believe their company will take off once they start making their shipping a lot easier and a lot quicker, which with all the new technology coming out, I don't see that as an issue. So that is something that I wanted to invest in at 196 and hold long term. I have one more play I want to do, and then I will invest in Amazon and leave my money there for not a portion, and I'll leave it in there for a while, next 5 years or so. Another company is Apple, another strong company that just keeps on growing. Voted the number one most stable company that there is out there, tech company that there is out there. They just keep earning and growing and growing. They're at 247 now, and yeah, those are the main ones that I look out on a daily basis. I just wanted to cover the dip, the big drop that happened today in the indexes. Again, it was tariff reliant, and that's just a preview of what is to come if Trump continues with his tariffs and what will happen to the stock market. So keep that in mind, and invest smart, invest wisely. If you're looking for a long-term investment, do your due diligence. Be a little forward-thinking, a lot forward-thinking if it's for a long term. Leave your money there, and there is a chance that there's going to be a dip in the whole economy, the U.S. economy, including the markets. So just be prepared for that. And if you are doing things short-term, which I'm not the biggest fan on doing, if you are doing things short-term, then I would probably wait. I would get into whatever it is that I wanted to get into now up until January 20th, once this euphoria of the Trump presidency is over with. And then I'll sit on my cash and wait to see what happens with the economy and with Trump, because Trump wants to implement stuff right away. I'm talking day one. Border politics, economy, ending wars, Russia, Syria, Iran, all that stuff. Wants to do everything immediately. So be open to that and be ready. And then I would sit on my cash until all that's done, and then get into investing once things start, if things start crashing, and I would wait for that buying opportunity. Um, I keep doing more reading. I keep looking into more things, and I keep you guys updated as I see it. If I can give a price prediction, again, this is not financial advice. My price prediction, I'll start with the companies that I talked about first. SMCI, I do believe they're going to grow. How much? I cannot say, but it is a strong company. I believe it's a strong company, and I believe there's just a lot of fear mongering. And I do believe they'll get past all this negative news that's coming its way. Bitcoin, um, that is a tough one. I would say right now it's at 97,000. I believe we can get past 100,000 to at least 110 for the next couple of months, maybe 120 tops. And then we wait for any type of new news coming from Trump to see how high this can go. Hopefully he pushes it up more, because I do have my own investments in the crypto world now. So I'm hoping it goes up further. What I know, I'm new to crypto, so I can't really give too much about it. MicroStrategy now is no longer its own tech company, because they move with Bitcoin, so it's heavily reliant upon Bitcoin. Taiwan Semiconductor, they produce chips for Nvidia and for a lot of other companies. I believe they're going to keep growing. They're a tech-heavy company, and they are going to keep making more and more chips. People are going to keep wanting chips, semiconductor chips. So it is a company to invest in and hold on to for years to come. Tesla. Tesla's a no-brainer. Tesla's going to keep shooting up. Too many things coming out, and this is all just with rumors. Now, just imagine once the implications. Just imagine once he makes these new products come to life. What's gonna happen? It's gonna take off. You're gonna have a lot more earnings, and it won't just be about the EV cars anymore. It's gonna have so much more to it, and this company is gonna be so valuable. I do believe anywhere you walk around or go to, you're gonna be seeing people wearing Tesla shirts, Tesla cars. They're gonna have Tesla robots. They're gonna have Tesla. You're gonna see a lot of things with Tesla. Maybe even a Tesla phone. There's no news about that. I'm just saying. I do believe Elon Musk is gonna do a lot of. He's gonna have. He's probably gonna run. He's probably gonna run the world at some point. Nvidia. Nvidia is another one. I do believe there's still room for some growth. It's just there's other companies that want to make. They want to start making their own chips, their own semiconductor chips. I'm not sure how that plays with Nvidia, although I do see Nvidia placing their own investments in a lot of these companies. So I do think their revenue will keep growing in their investments. As long as he's smart, Wang is smart with his investments, I do believe the company will keep growing. As to how much, I'm not sure, but I do believe it will keep getting stronger and stronger. Broadcom, hey, Nancy Pelosi has a call position for it to go up until next year to, I believe it was 6 or 700. That's Nancy Pelosi. She's one of the best investors there are here, alive at the moment. She's even better than Warren Buffett, apparently. Amazon, I'm personally going to invest in Amazon. I do believe they're going to replace gallerias, shopping malls, and stores once they can instantly get products to your front door in less than a second. From the time you look at it on the screen and you want it, and they can get it to you right there and then. I believe this company is going to shoot up to who knows how much, but it's going to get extremely strong. Apple, they always grow. We all need an iPhone. We all need anything iPhone related. The iMacs and all that's very good, but the iPhone, we all need a phone. And it's going to keep growing. So yeah, that's all there is for today.